The decline of Tate is more than just a passing phase. It's a crisis that raises serious questions about the future of one of the UK's most iconic art institutions. When a national museum starts sounding like a rock band trying to spin bad news into a quirky catchphrase, you know something is deeply wrong. Recently, Tate echoed the legendary band Spinal Tap's infamous line, insisting that its audience wasn't shrinking, but merely becoming more selective. This came amid falling visitor numbers and a financial crunch severe enough to force staff layoffs. To soften the blow, Tate highlighted a surge in young visitors to Tate Modern, particularly those under 35, as if older visitors didn't matter anymore. But here's where it gets controversial. Just a few months earlier, Tate's director Maria Balshaw pointed the finger at a lack of 16 to 24-year-old visitors from continental Europe as a key problem. So, are they chasing the right kind of youth or missing the mark entirely? This week, Tate Modern is launching a major exhibition that might finally draw in paying adults. Yet Theatre Picasso relies almost exclusively on works from Tate's own collection, pieces that arguably should be part of the museum's permanent free displays but have been sidelined for some time. This is a stark contrast to the blockbuster exhibitions of the past, featuring Picasso, Matisse, Gauguin, Rauschenberg, and Cézanne in 2022, which boasted extraordinary loans from prestigious museums worldwide. Why has Tate Modern seemingly shrunk in ambition and scope? Meanwhile, Tate's rival, the National Gallery, is on the rise. Just this week, the National announced it had secured funding to build a new wing, and, in a bold move, will abandon its long-standing policy as collecting only pre-1900 art, a policy that had effectively ceded modern art territory to Tate. This reversal is a direct challenge to Tate's domain, especially after the National's Van Gogh exhibition cemented its reputation as a world-class venue for modern art. This development follows a stunning rehang of the National's collection earlier this year, spanning from Cimabue to Picasso. The gallery is embracing modern art with gusto, even adding a stylish Locatelli bar that feels like it was plucked straight from Rome's Termini station. The National Gallery and Tate Modern have fundamentally different approaches to modern art. Tate Modern has always prioritized contemporary art, often sidelining early 20th century masters. In contrast, the National Gallery is uniquely positioned to narrate the revolutionary transformation of art between 1870 and 1920, showing how Cézanne influenced Picasso and Braque, and how movements like Cubism sparked Futurism and Suprematism. This historical context is something Tate Modern has largely neglected. However, if the National Gallery is to expand its modern art collection, it must maintain a serious, thoughtful approach. Randomly showcasing trendy artists like Jeff Koons would dilute its mission. After all, the art world doesn't need a fifth Tate on Trafalgar Square. On the other hand, Tate Liverpool is currently closed for renovations, and its temporary venue feels lifeless and neglected, complete with a grumpy caretaker. The only Tate location where I've genuinely enjoyed myself recently is Tate St. Ives, but that was mostly thanks to the stunning beach views rather than the art. Both Tate and the National Gallery struggled during the COVID years, but it's the older institution that has emerged with renewed vigor. Tate Britain, in particular, seems to have lost its way. It no longer represents a broad vision of British art. Despite housing the world's finest collection of historical British art, it largely ignores artists from before 1800, dismisses the influential young British artists of the 1990s, and shies away from celebrating major British art stars, past and present. For example, Jenny Saville recently enjoyed a remarkable retrospective at the National Portrait Gallery, another institution outpacing Tate in terms of influence and relevance. Tate appears to be a textbook case of an institution stuck in its own past success. It clings to outdated formulas and routines that no longer feel fresh or innovative. The Turbine Hall commissions are still scheduled to coincide with the Frieze Art Fair, even though Frieze itself has changed dramatically and no longer holds the same cultural weight. Moreover, Tate's definition of modern art remains narrowly focused on video, film, performance, and installation, despite the fact that contemporary art today is far more diverse, fluidly moving between these media and traditional forms like painting, drawing, and sculpture. The upcoming Tracey Emin retrospective at Tate Modern is a hopeful sign. It spotlights an artist who has been instrumental in bringing painting back into the contemporary conversation. Perhaps this is why the National Gallery is gaining momentum. The lines between avant-garde and conservative art are blurring, and innovation is just as likely to be found on canvas as on a screen. There's some progress at Tate, such as the painter Mohammed Sami's shortlisting for this year's Turner Prize, which Tate Britain organizes, though the event is being held in Bradford this year. But Tate needs more than a few positive steps. It must break free from its rigid brand identity. The heavily criticized, overly didactic displays at Tate Britain, known for their preachy wall texts and grand historical narratives, will eventually need to be replaced with exhibitions that celebrate, rather than judge, 500 years of British artistic achievement. As for Tate Modern, it should aim to tell the rich story of modernism's birth and evolution, from Fauvism to abstract expressionism, with a sense of historical depth and respect for artistic greatness. If it can't do that, perhaps it's time to consider transferring its Picassos and Rothkos to the National Gallery, where they might be better appreciated. So, what do you think? Is Tate stuck in a rut, clinging to outdated ideas, or is it simply evolving in a way that challenges traditional expectations? Could the National Gallery's expansion signal a new era for modern art in the UK, or is this just a turf war between two venerable institutions? Share your thoughts below. Do you agree with this assessment, or do you see Tate's future in a different light?